Okay, I know it's 6:31. Let's wait a couple of minutes. I know Gail wanted to join, so let's just wait one more minute. And then we'll have the whole committee here. There she is. Okay, we'll wait one more minute anyway. Thank you. You know what? I forgot a pen and paper. I'm just going to run and get them and be right back. Okay, so it's 6:33, two on my computer, so we should get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm Alita Camp. I'm chair of the Arts Committee, and this is the, what month are we in? March Arts Committee meeting. So thank you all for being here. I'd like to, I don't know, Kevin, do you want to do your intro?
Sure. There are not that many people with us, so I'll try to be really quick. Give me 1 second.
Thank you.
Welcome. If this is your first time joining us, everyone will remain muted throughout the meeting except for Alita. Following the presentation, Alita will call on members of the public wishing to speak. You can participate by going to the reactions icon, pressing raise hand, not the wave or thumbs up, etc. Only press it once. If you press it a second time, your hand will go back down. If you are on the phone, which I don't think anyone is, you can press *9 to raise hand and *6 to unmute. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once the co-chairs call on you. The chat is for technical support only to help with Zoom software problems, not to ask questions of the co-chairs. They will not see the chats. If you have an older version of Zoom, you will need to go to the participants section where you will find the raise hand feature there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we may not be able to see you. Chat me, I'm here for support. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, again, good evening, everyone. I'd like to start according to the agenda by just doing a quick debrief on the craft show. And I'd like to start that discussion by asking anyone who participated as a crafter in the February show, if you would just raise your virtual hand by going down to the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, as Kevin mentioned, and just clicking on the raise hand. Okay. So just good. All right. Does anyone have any comments about that? There are a few of you who are here. How was the experience? You can lower your hands just so I don't call on you, and unless you have a comment. If your experience was good or not so good, if you have any comments, now's a good time. Okay, I don't see any. So for the committee members or anyone else in the public, if you have any comments in terms of debriefing, then now is a good time. Peggy and then Rita. And then
I thank you very much, and hello to everyone. I just want to say that the show was fantastic. We got a great turnout. We were real happy with the whole shebang. But prior to the show, I felt that, and also in other instances of programs we've had, I had this great sense that more and more of us committee members were having to do some, shall we say, literally heavy lifting. And I think we need to replace that aspect of our program and figure out a way that us ladies don't have to do so much heavy lifting. So that would be my thought on the subject and my request. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Peggy. Yeah, the space was really tight. It took a lot of time and maneuvering to figure out how to fit the maximum number of people that we could in that space, which will bring me to something as soon as everyone else makes comments. Rita, would you mind? I didn't see Liz had her hand up before Peggy. Would you mind if we skip to Liz since she's in the public? Is that okay, Rita?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Liz, would you unmute Liz Daly, please? Hi, Liz. Thanks for coming.
Muted. Thank you. Thank you. No, I just want to be very brief and just say I was there. I attended. I actually bought stuff. So I thought it was very good. It really an interesting variety of vendors. So I would just say well done. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. And I know that you have been very supportive of the Arts Committee. And for those who don't know Liz, she comes to all of our board meetings as well. She's the government or community liaison from the Frick Museum. So we're always happy to see you. Thank you. And she also supports the committee by tweeting or sending out our flyers, which is great. Rita?
I thought the show was really fantastic. We didn't know, the committee didn't know what to expect in this open space, but I must say that crafters are really very nice to each other, and everybody was really very helpful. Just an aside that I think if we have any community board literature and there is a door and there is an entrance to the facility, I think that's where a table belonged at that at the door for the just for people signing up for community board news. And that was number one. It would be also, I suggest that the committee members have a name tag on, because a lot of people have questions, and when we say, well, it's that person, but there were just loads of people, and everything, even the unexpected of dogs that came with their owners or whatever, it was really a very, very successful thing. Alita, we owe it all to you.
Definitely not true. As Peggy said, we all did heavy lifting for this, and it couldn't have been done without the committee and without the support of people like Liz and our elected officials who also tweeted, and Marissa, who's not here, who is the public member, and the board office, of course. Everyone works together. It's very synergistic. I'm glad that this wasn't, it may sound like it, but it wasn't a fishing expedition. It took a lot of work and a lot of effort, but the expressions of gratitude for community building, for having something like this, was enormously valuable in the sense of doing what the community board is supposed to do. But what I did note is that we were very, very tight on space. We couldn't have everyone. And so I guess what I'm talking to a public school about using their much, much larger cafeteria in the future. But if anyone else knows of any space that would be suitable for this, and that was a large room, 60 feet by 40 feet, we'd need something significantly larger, or two rooms, a multiple of rooms. That would be good for the future, because based on people's comments, both the people who attended and the crafters, having the show in the winter was perceived to be very valuable by them, not just as an opportunity to show and to shop, but also for that sense of community building. There were even Cub Scouts there, which was great. So for next year, and I hope that there will be a next year craft show, we do need a larger space. Okay, thank you everyone for your comments. On to the next. So the Arts Committee has been planning an art show, an outdoor art show. Rita, I guess we did go over this with you and at another previous meeting at the James Cagney Place, where we've had it for the past 2 Junes and last October, which is 91st Street and 91st between 2nd and 3rd. It's a demapped street, no cars. trees and a playground and benches, and UES Ice Cream has already approached me about selling their ice cream at the show, which I think is a great moment of refreshment. I've also been talking to JREC about having, or Talented Unlimited High School at JREC, about having their students perform. They've performed in the past. They're musical, they have musical theater, they have jazz music, they have a choir. So I don't know who will be available because they get very booked up, but we will have them. And we will also, I think, be interested in having musicians at the show and being able to hire a couple of sets of musicians. So if there's someone that you recommend that you've seen in the past who does some lively music, jazz, comes to mind, songs, Irish music, folk music, that would be great. Please email the board office, info@cb8m.com. Who'll pass all the information on to me, or my email is camp, C-A-M-P, @cb8m.com. Don't forget the M when you do that. And musicians would be great and lively. But what we need to do for the art show is have a date for submission of artwork. So next week, Monday is April 3rd. I know the board office has been working on the flyer. They're waiting for us to come up with submission deadline to put on the flyer soliciting art. So that's what we need to do. Monday will be April 3rd. I can't imagine that the flyer would be, well, actually, it's only Wednesday. Maybe we'll have the flyer for review. When we have dates by tomorrow, maybe we'll be able to get it out Monday or Tuesday. So given that it's April 3rd, any ideas about submission deadlines? What we usually do is have a submission deadline and then also have an extension of a submission deadline in case we don't get enough art submitted prior or at the deadline. So guys, any ideas? And that's a non-gender, guys, in full disclosure. I'm thinking maybe a month, if we do May, I don't know, I don't have, Kevin, you could help here with a calendar. Let's say that maybe May 8th or May 15th. No, that's too far. No, that would be okay. Maybe May 8th and then an extension to the first Monday in June. The 17th is the third Saturday. So the first or second Monday in June is an extension. What do you guys think? Could you unmute Rita, please? I know she's trying to say something. Thank you.
I think that sounds very reasonable.
So should we say May 15th as a first deadline?
Yes,
And June, what's the first Monday in June, Kevin?
Let me check.
I've got it right here.
First Monday in June is the 5th.
Right.
Maybe June, maybe June 7th, and that's 10 days before the show for final submittals, or maybe that's not enough time. I know we have a spreadsheet here that the office likes us to look at for deadlines.
Will wanted me to let you guys know that last weekend was 12 weeks out from the proposed date.
Okay, well,
We can work with that.
well, we can't really because we want to do this in June and not do it in the summer. Once July 4th hits, people are often away. So week 9 is the extended deadline for submission. So that's 3 weeks prior to the 17th. So that would be, I guess, the last Friday in May.
Well, and Alita, if I may, I think that we should make it closer to the May deadline than June. There's a lot of things that need to be done in terms of verifying if the participants are actually coming, and that seems to take forever. And so I think there needs to be a last minute cutoff sometime in May,
Okay.
but not extended into June. I mean,
Okay, so then let's do, how about the last Friday in May? That's the third, that's 3 weeks before, and that should fit within the time frame of the spreadsheet.
That's the 26th.
yeah, and I don't know if I'm still unmuted, but I would
are.
say that the show has gotten to be really well done and very well known also. So I think we need to be a little more officious with the applicants, if you will, in terms of, you know, you don't get back to us by such and such a date. Well, see you next time. I mean, that sounds harsher than I mean, but I don't think we have to do a lot of catering to people. You know, we have our own deadlines to deal with, and we want to reduce the chaos. So I think we need to be firmer. I guess that's the word I'm really looking for, about our deadlines, and not just drop everything when someone said, oh, I forgot or something, you know. I don't think we need to be so gracious. That's just my opinion.
Okay, and that's a valid point, but I know Marissa's been really tied up. She did a lot of social media. She's connected to a lot of different arts groups. I'm not sure without her doing that, what kind of turnout we'll get. But let's focus for a minute on the dates. So then how about May 8th for the first deadline and May 26th for the second?
Sounds reasonable.
And Gail,
Yeah.
you have your hand up.
Yeah, I want to just reinforce what Peg
Can't hear you.
can't,
Now it's better. Thank you.
it's better. I wanted to reinforce what Peggy said, because I think that part of the issue that we've had as a committee is getting people to finally kind of come forward at the last minute and say, oh, yes, I do plan to participate. It's created more pressure for the committee. It's created pressure for the board office. So I think that I'm not worried that we'll get enough submittals. I really think that after 4 shows or 3 shows going on to the 4th, and after the success of the craft show, that we're going to get people who will be interested in participating. So giving us a little bit more time, I think, makes more sense.
Okay,
We do
fair
it the
enough.
way.
So we have May 8th and May 26th, and we will stick and require that artists stick to deadlines. And I think the procedures that we've used for the last show, art show and the craft show, really worked well. I see there's a member of the public, Michelle. If you would unmute Michelle, please.
Hi, greetings. What if, okay, quick question. I mean, I think we're gonna have plenty of people, and I have all my art pals that are
Good,
so
good.
excited to do this.
Good.
Okay, what if there's too many, A, and B, the whole problem last year was there was nowhere to put anything on the tables. That was the big problem, and people said, I don't want to do it if I don't have a table. What do you think?
We can't provide tables. We don't have the resources. We're a government agency, needless to say, and we have less budget than any other government agency around. So, so we don't have the money or the resources. The first art show, what Peggy said is true. I was running around, Gail, Barron, Peggy were running around at other times, gathering up tables and easels, returning them, marking them, making sure, bringing them in and out. We just don't have the ability. There are no tables available unless we go and collect them and rent them, and we just don't have the ability to do that. It seemed that people bringing their own tables, they could bring this, we restricted the size. They have 8 feet for the outdoor show. The block is a long block from 2nd to 3rd. They could set up tables other than the city bike rack. They could set up tables the whole length of the street, and possibly, if necessary, in the middle as well, or on a sidewalk or against a tree. So there's been plenty of room for people. It's a lot of space. And I would hope that that wouldn't be an issue, but we just don't have the ability to provide any kind of materials for display.
Okay.
They can even bring a blanket and put it on the ground, or a couple of easels, whatever works, but that's where we are. There's no charge for people to participate or attend the show, and because we're a government agency, but that reflects back in our budget. Thank you for understanding. And I hope that your art friends and that you, if you're an artist, will participate, because it's a lovely space, and we get people walking up third, walking up second. And it's a really nice, as long as the weather cooperates, really nice day. We have someone else before we go back to Peggy. Karen? Thank you. Michelle, did you have any other comments?
Yeah, very enthusiastic. I mean, in France, I just put it on the floor, on the ground, and I take it from there.
Good. People do look down at the ground, I've noticed. Thank you. Thank you. Karen?
Yes, hi. I got in late because I had trouble joining. May 8th and May 26th, what are those the dates for?
Those are the dates for artists to submit their work. The show right now is scheduled for June 17, rain date June 18th, which is Father's Day, I believe. But May 8th is the date for first submissions, which is really our preference, because we do have a lot of work to do with that. And then May 26th is for people who weren't aware of the first deadline or forgot, so that we're generous with artists to the extent that we're able to do so. And that's the second date. And if it's not submitted by then, we can't consider it for the show, because we do have issues with logistics.
Submitting the merchandise or
No,
submitting?
just submitting.
application.
You'll get, yes, people who've come to this. I think, Kevin, please confirm if I'm correct. If people have attended this meeting, they'll be on the email list, because they have to give that, do they? And then they'll get the flyer. How does it
Yeah.
work?
So all the
You've muted yourself. Muted. Am I the only one who can't hear Kevin?
No, I can't hear.
Okay, we'll get back to you, Kevin, when you sort that out. Thank you. The flyers will be up on our website, so just check the CB8 Arts Committee page, and they will be e-blasted to people, and they will be included, I hope, in the CB8 roundup. So there will be lots of opportunities for people to be aware of the flyer soliciting art, the flyer inviting the public to the art show, and the various deadlines for art submissions. Peggy? You're muted.
Yeah, I'd just like to say to Michelle, first of all, thank you very much for your comments. But, if your friends want to participate, then tell them to sign up as soon as possible, to get back to us as soon as possible, to show up at the show, as soon as they can. And there won't be a problem. But I also think we need to possibly put some of that on a flyer, for example, that firm deadlines, or sign up early so you're not left out, or somehow use language to tell people that it's up to them. If they want to be in the show, they need to meet the deadlines. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. And Rita?
I don't know if I'm muted.
No, you're not. You're okay.
Okay. I hope that we can get to the Upper East Side patch with this show. And I think that what we need to do is contact them now and set up some kind of relationship. That's number one. Number two, if we have music, etc., we will need a sound permit, which I don't mind getting from the precinct, but I just want you to know that we need that.
Right. Thank you for reminding us. You were great at getting it in for the past shows. If you don't mind taking on that responsibility.
And could I add something, Alita? I mean, actually, Rita has created, not Rita, excuse me, Peggy has created a relationship with them. So if anybody can end up getting the article placed, it is Peggy, and she's been successful twice in promoting our show. So I think she knows. You can speak for yourself, Peggy, as far as reaching out to Nick and others. but you've done a good job with getting that type of coverage. But it's hard, they're not always responsive. And I know how many times Peggy has put in phone calls and emails and followed up. So I
That's
just wanted
true.
to do a shout out to Peggy so that we don't lose sight of the fact that she's delivered on this for us.
Yes, several times, I think, and that was great. They have a new reporter and he came to the craft show and did a really nice article about it after the fact. It's nice to have it before the fact. So that would be good if you don't mind, Peggy. I see that.
Yeah,
Karen-
I just want to say that we can't do it now. We have to, as a journalist, I know we have to wait till right before the show, and then build it up as a big deal. And later on, we'll be able to tell him what we're going to have. He asked those kinds of questions when we got a hold of him the last time, who's going to be there, how many people, what's going to, what's the lay of the land. So we'll get a hold of him closer to the show.
Okay, we'll leave the timing to you. But we should have more idea of whether we'll be having musicians or what kinds we'll be having, how many artists have submitted, and that's all good. But thank you for that. Okay, so on the chat, Kevin's posted the dates, I guess in conformity to the spreadsheet that we all worked on. So it looks like the submission deadline will be the 5th. The second submission deadline is the 26th. The show date's the 17th and rain date 18th. I think that all works for me. How does everyone else feel?
Good.
Okay. And Sahar, hi, thanks for coming. Could you unmute Sahar?
Yes. Hi, everyone. How are you? This
Hi.
sounds
Hi.
so exciting, by the way. I love this. I think this is the best one. I just had one idea that I was just wondering if it would work. You guys would know better. There's so many schools in our area, in our community board. And I was just thinking, what if, like, once the flyer's done, we just reach out to the schools and just give them the flyer and say, hey, each one have art teachers that are teaching their students. So maybe we can say that, do you want to share this with your art teachers? What if some of them are artists and paint something or the other, and they want to participate, or maybe some of their students. So they share that. And also this would have a double benefit. Not only artists can join, like those teachers that are, but also the fact that we request them, please, can you share it with your school community? Because this is happening in your neighborhood. And many of these, the families at those schools live around the school. So if it is shared, they would be like, hey, this is interesting. Let's go on the Saturday morning, check it out. So you get double benefit. You also get artists through that, but you also get the visibility in the sense at these schools that they would learn that something like this is happening. And that would increase, I think. I just feel like it would be fun to, kind of welcome them as well. And offline, I could help you guys with that maybe, because I did that for another committee for the environment. I reached out to schools, called them up. So, some, maybe we already have contacts and we can just speak with them to the relevant person and disperse, or, from our office, it could go to them. Or we can just do a few calls and ask them that, hey, do you want your guys to participate? So I just thought it would be nice to have those people too.
Kevin, the whole thing seems to be broken. I just tried to chat you a thank you and it doesn't work. It says that you are not in the meeting. So I don't know what's going on with your computer, but something is. I think, Sahar, that's a really good idea in terms of trying to get the schools to help publicize, but I don't think that we have the ability at this show to support all of the kids at all of the various schools. But I think what might be nice in the future is having a show for local kids and doing something like that, maybe on a theme of what New York means to them. And then they would have all of the support of people coming to see their work specifically, and we would have something focused on the students. I think we've had some children showing their work in the past. I think it's just a little difficult to integrate everything, but Certainly having both my kids love to draw. I think all children love to do art projects in school. My basement has bins of their artwork that I can't part
No,
with.
right. But I wasn't thinking of actually, kids' work. I was thinking of, I'm sorry, there's disturbance at the back, but I was thinking more of like, we can even kind of limit it and say, if any of your teachers would like to participate in
okay.
this, they can, because there are art teachers at all these schools, and many of them are artists on the side. So maybe if they want to bring in, so we have like, kind of the stuff that's coming in, the artwork that's coming in, it is by a professional, and like, it's not by like, very simple stuff that like young kids would have, but maybe they have some, amazing work by one of their students, and that the teacher could then like kind of, but we would basically kind of relate, like focus it towards the teachers if they want to, but we can say like, please share it with your your community, your school community, that this is happening, and if they would like to come and see the artwork and enjoy that morning. So it's kind of reaching out to people to come and join, but for the artwork we only ask for the teacher, so we kind of, in the communication, we say it and limit it.
I think that's a great idea, because art teachers can have great work. I'm just making a note, even though I'll be doing
Add a
it.
little something, since I'm an art teacher at PS
Sure.
77. One, we're having a big rally tomorrow on 92nd Street, the UFT. Two, we used to do everything at Sotheby's all the time with kids, but let's keep art separate from kids art. I will be more than happy.
Yeah,
As a
not the
union
kids art.
leader for the United Federation of Teachers, I have access to 75,000 teachers. Okay, so you've got a good person here. So as far as connecting, you got me. I can do it. I've been
That's
a teacher
great.
for 20 years, right on
Right.
95th Street.
Thank you for that.
Totally, Michelle. I think I totally agree. Not I didn't mean the students per se. I meant the teachers. So I think, Michelle, your idea is great.
One
you know-
art teacher, we have some music, but however, teachers work so hard. They don't necessarily, out of their contractual day, necessarily want to do extra above and beyond the call of duty.
I know my mother was a teacher, and I volunteered in the art room at the public school that one of my kids went to. So I know how much there is struggle for the arts, for materials, for time, for teachers in the public schools. So for all of those out there, Michelle, thank you, and please spread the thank you among your colleagues.
If you need, I'm on the SLT, I'm on the PTA. If you need anything, let me do a shout out. I'm pretty loud.
Just a shout out would be very useful. So when you get the flyer, and please, if you could include your email in the chat, someone should be getting it. Then you'll definitely be getting the email. And I just want to say, in terms of building community, that we had over, I think, 65 people sign up for the community board list at the craft show, which is huge. I know, because I was typing in the email addresses to send to the board office of half the people. So that's a lot. And I think that really is very good for the community board. So having said that, I also learned through another board member that 90% of city funding for the arts in education goes to Talent Unlimited and LaGuardia High Schools. And the remaining 10% is dispersed throughout however many public schools there are in New York City. So that doesn't leave a lot of money for art materials or teachers or any other kind of funding for that. So there will be, I've already spoken to the Youth and Education Committee. We're going to have a joint item on how to get more funding for the arts in the public schools, because it's essential for kids, I think. But we're really way off topic. So we have the dates for that. We'll send out the same kind of letter that we have and do the same kind of format for the space that we have had. Any other thoughts on the art show. Again, if you have musicians, please email the board office info@cb8m.com with names, and we'll see what we can do. We've had some really nice musicians in the past, but as the show has grown, we have a need for louder, more present music, I think, and so that's why I'm reaching out. I see that Stu is here with his hand raised. If you could unmute Stu, Kevin, please. Oh, maybe with Kevin's computer not working.
Hi.
Hi, oh, it works
I
for
think
that.
I'm unmuted. No, I just would like to add one thing. I think the East Side patch is crucial. It certainly has a very dedicated readership, and I think that's a great idea. But my partner just reminded me a few minutes ago, there's also a West Side patch. It's
The West
not
Side
difficult.
back, I think.
It's not difficult for people to come across the park and visit us on the East Side. I know that I've attended art shows and I've participated in art on the Avenue. The first one was all along Columbus Avenue, and I live, of course, on the East Side. So if it's not a big deal, make a little extra effort to extend the reach to the West Side patch and get broader coverage that way. The more the merrier. I mean, there are lulls, as we all know, during the day when it's quite noticeable that the crowd thins out. So if you have some extra people coming in, that just fills those gaps and makes the artists feel good to see a lot of people around on the street.
Thank you. That's a great idea. We would love to build attendance throughout Manhattan and maybe as much as possible, because it is good. And New York City, as large as it is one kind of community with subsets within. So that's a great. Do you have any connections there?
Personally? No, not with
It is kind of a facetious question, but thank
Oh,
you. No.
yeah.
I wasn't entirely kidding. If you do, that would be great. But thank you so much for your
Right.
comment. It's a good
Yeah,
idea.
I just hope that it's not a windy day.
Yes, because wind.
October, that was a calamity at the last hour of that show.
Yeah, we've had some rain showers too, or light rain showers. The
You know,
weather
you
can
can
be an issue.
almost deal with that more effectively, throw a piece of plastic over the work or whatever. But that wind situation, that was brutal. And it caused a lot of the people, the exhibitors to flee pretty early because of that. But
Yeah,
hopefully
you can't blame them.
that won't be the case in June.
Hopefully,
Although the freaky weather we have now,
yes.
we never can tell. But
That's-
anyway, that's my little contribution. I'll hang in there.
Thank you. Thank
Sure.
you. Lori? Hi, Lori. Could you unmute Lori, please?
Hi.
Hi.
I just have a quick question, and I'm sorry if you covered this already because I apologize for being late. Is this show going to be just art, as in like visual paintings and photography and stuff like that, or is it arts and also crafts?
It's primarily focused on visual arts, but the last times we have had crafts. So if there are crafters who would like to join, right now, that is a possibility. We don't want to turn anyone away, but we do hope to have paintings, any sculptures, that kind of visual art.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, please. Yes.
Karen?
Yes. I have a collection of antique paper lace stationery. Is that visual?
It is, if you do something with it. It's not a show for people it's for people to sell their crafts or their art, primarily their art. So if you turn it into something that you've created, that would be very welcome.
I created it.
You created it.
I bought them up in Nantucket many years ago and then mounted them on Crane's paper and then sold them. I'm also a calligrapher. I just want to know whether I can bring my things.
Yes, that counts.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments on this? Okay, Lori, I did mention that I was in touch with the Youth and Education Committee, so we'll be having, I don't know if you were here for that, a joint meeting on that. I've also been in touch with a community theater group who they're looking for a space, but there's a possibility if I can figure it out because of limitations on the ability of government agencies to sponsor or work on things where there is a fee charged for admission. Other than that, maybe there's an opportunity for a play reading or a joint kind of production. Also with the Origin Theater, still talking to Mick Malamphy, who's the creative director, about trying to do a joint play reading for that. And I had a conversation with Council Member Julie Menon, who was able to get kids art on a construction fence on the Upper East Side, somewhere in the 60s, I believe, about targeting some other construction fences in our neighborhood and working with the schools for kids to be able to post their art instead of deteriorating green fence and signage that's not supposed to be there. So it's a great opportunity for kids, which I guess just brings me back to what I thought Sahar was saying, but which she wasn't really saying, which is a way to engage kids in the arts community. Rita?
I think that reading is fabulous. It's not an outdoor activity because of the noise, of fire engines, trucks, whatever. However, and also that would give us a chance to tap into the young adult or the adult community. And it would be nice if we could do a wine and cheese evening with that. And that would make people come, before dinner and for a reading. I'm always thinking of Mick Malamphy. He's just so talented, and it would be nice for people to know about him. And I'm sure there are other groups, but I think I'd like to put out there that this is a nice wine and cheese tasting event.
That would be a nice event. I agree. And I guess we're also talking about dance lessons, possibly salsa, possibly ballet, and other things that we could find, obviously also indoors. The salsa might be very suitable for outdoors, the ballet not, because of the bricks on the street. But and we're not talking about on toe or on point either, but we'll be sorting all of those out. This summer, maybe because people do tend to go away, it gets hot, it gets steamy, it's uncomfortable to have more outdoor things. But if we could start thinking about September and what kinds of events we could have in September, I think that would be really good. There seems to be a real enthusiasm for art shows and these kinds of events. So and a need for it. And ideas are certainly welcome for anyone who is at this meeting and would like and has an idea about a way for the community board to help support the arts and arts in public spaces. I think that would be really good. I'm always aware of murals. East Harlem has a number of murals. There were paintings on the roll downs that go in front of store windows that Gail Brewer collected, and it was trying to build have a museum for. So there are lots of opportunities for art on the streets that I don't think we should ignore either, if there's a way to bring that to the community. Sahar?
Yeah, hi. I had just one more idea that I just wanted to share and ask if it works. So when I was there, when we had it at the Cagney Place, the event last time, I remember many of the artists said, hey, it would be great if we can even teach some students, some children. And so I was just thinking, just to make it more fun and just to get more people like from the community, from the neighborhood to come and join and take part in this. I think you guys do such tremendous amount of work for this, and it's always so amazing. So I was just thinking if we can have more people join. So I was thinking, what about maybe having 1 or 2 artists, whoever you decide and however you decide, that can do, like if there's a pottery or some other similar kind of, easier things for the children to do, that if they bring their elements and they are kind of doing classes, very small ones, on the spot with the children. Maybe it could be something like they're making cards and they're drawing it and painting it, because there was such variety of art that was there. So maybe obviously everything cannot be done on the spot, but maybe some of it, we can offer it that if you have something that you can teach, young children within a span of 15 minutes, then reach out to us. Everyone would not be able to participate because some of them would have work that requires a lot more time, but maybe some of them can. And that way they can make some money. People would be happy to pay for those classes, and, children would have some fun and they can then take that home. So I was just thinking, like, kind of having that. And if you want, kind of to increase, like kind of having also maybe like, the paper that they're using or whatever could have, that this was on this date, the art, like that CB8 event on this date, kind of, so that people can remember it as it's a memento that, we went to this event by CB8 and that's where we made this. So I was just thinking that's another thing maybe we could try.
I think that's an interesting idea. We have provided sidewalk chalk, and some kids really like using that. They respond very enthusiastically. So that might be an idea if we could figure out how to orchestrate it, and you're welcome to help. So anyone else
absolutely
volunteering you, anyone else who would like to participate in that, but maybe that's a question that we could include in the letter that goes out to artists and ask them that. Oh my God, did you just disappear because I volunteered you? Good. Okay. I think you're muted, but okay.
No, I'm actually there. I'm sorry. It's actually Ramadan, and the time to open our fast is just right now. So I was just like unmuting.
No, that's okay.
I was muting myself so that you guys weren't disturbed.
No, that's okay. Thank you. And thank you for being here on this day. I think that could be a very interesting idea. We'll figure out some language and how to orchestrate something like that. Thank you. Any other, and I appreciate all of these comments from both board members and the public on ways to strengthen the art show and to be more inclusive of people in the community, and different ways of showing things, and including people in the art world. So thank you. Anyone else who'd like to say anything? Okay. So then I think we're set. I know, Kevin, you were having trouble with your computer. Is there anything that we neglected that you want to include in the chat? And while you're doing that, if you could unmute Peggy.
I just wanted to confirm with you, Alita, that we said the May 8th is the first deadline and May 26th is the second deadline.
Yeah, you had put May 5th in the chat.
Oh, sorry, May 5th.
But that would be Friday.
But we said May 6th.
May 6th is Saturday. So we could stick with Friday, the 5th, and then that gives 3 weeks for the second period, if necessary. Okay.
And we were talking about the master list before. So our the office is putting together a master list of all the artists that have previously participated or have expressed interest in participating. So the flyer will go out to them first, and then that's for the first submission deadline. And the second one would be for anyone who stumbles upon the flyer or who hears it from word of mouth and everything.
Okay, that sounds good. I also should get you those email lists so that we could send out to them, because there were people who were either showing or came to see at the craft show. Thank you. Peggy?
Hi, yeah, thanks. We're very lucky that Liz Daly joins us at our meetings, and thank you, Liz. And so I'm thinking, we really would benefit from more high-level people in the arts participating with us. And I'm just wondering or thinking out loud, could Liz in some way help us with that to get more visibility? Because if we had even greater presence in the arts community, then when we go for publicity, it's an angle to work with, other than just another art, or doing the art show again. You want a press release or press information with something that's a hook and a grab. And I just think if Liz could help us with that, outreach to the big time arts committee, that we would really benefit from that.
Right, and that's a good idea. Liz?
Yeah, we can have an offline discussion about that. Maybe what exactly it is, who you're trying to reach, and then try and figure out how the best way is to do that. So yeah.
Thank you.
My information. So just reach
Yeah,
out.
and it's a way to, with people like yourself working with us, it's a way to get a sort of citywide, outreach. And so I think that would be great if we could tap into your expertise.
That's a great idea. And thank you, Liz, for any thoughts that you might have, or ideas or connections. And if anyone else at this meeting has connections in the gallery world, the museum world, those would be useful as well. Not that we would ask for a craft show or an art show at the Frick, for instance, but just to be able to work together and to have the gravitas that comes from any kind of connection with the players that are perceived as very serious in the art world. And that includes all of the galleries. And we will be having some new ones opening on the Upper East Side too, significant galleries. And that's always something to be excited about and look forward to. Any other comments? Any old business? New business? Again, ideas about future programming. I know some of our committee members are working on the dance lessons, and we're all doing everything that we can in order to find new venues or new ways of promoting art in public spaces and reaching the community. So with that, if there are no closing comments, is there a motion to adjourn? Peggy's making a motion and Rita's seconding it. So thank you everyone for coming and participating and for your ideas. They are all really, really useful, especially for the members of the public. Okay, and I see Sahar seconded as well. So thank you very much for everyone celebrating. Happy Passover, happy Easter, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Happy Ramadan.
And happy Ramadan. What am I thinking? Sahar is celebrating. Happy Ramadan. So thank you all. Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
Bye.